guys, it's Heather here, and today I am bringing you one of the, if not the very most requested tutorial that you guys have been asking for, and that is Town Hall 8 GoVaLo. That's right, we're bringing Golems along with Wizards. Wizards always go with the Go part, and Valkyrie and Loons to take on very specific Town Hall 8 bases and completely annihilate them. This is one of the coolest attacks. It goes against bases that are really good at defending against dragons and hogs. We're talking about those bases with the air defense in the center, along with hard to figure out giant bomb placement in the center. So this is a great attack that you can use against those bases, and it looks freaking awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the Valkyrie. She's probably one of the most underrated, unused troops in Clash of Clans, and one of the most powerful troops if you know how to use her. What's really cool about the Valkyrie is she has a ton of hit points. So at level 2, the max you can get at Town Hall 8, she has 1,000 hit points. That's already 2.5 times the amount of hit points of your level 4 Hogs. So she's super beefy, right? She can do a lot of damage. She can hit multiple buildings at once. Her downside from Hogs is that she doesn't target defensive buildings, so that's a little bit of a downside, but she does a lot of damage, and she's pretty easy to funnel if you set that funnel up. A lot easier than P.E.K.K.A.s are. Now, some other things that are really cool about using Valkyrie over, say, like Hogs, which are probably the most popular army composition to use. For one, Valkyrie, if they hit a spring trap, you're only going to lose 1 because they take 8 troop space. If you have 2 of them, that's going to get to 16, so only a possibility of 1 can be lost, where you can lose 3 Hogs, your full 15 troop space. So that's really good. They're not as vulnerable to the spring traps, and then of course they're not as vulnerable to the giant bombs. They really don't do that much to them. And if you get your bunch of Valkyrie, you don't have to constantly keep them in a heal area like you do the Hogs, because they have so many hit points, especially since you are going to want to be taking level 4 Valkyrie in your clan castle, and those go up to 1,200 hit points. So, some pretty cool stuff about Valkyrie that just get overlooked, just don't get talked about a lot. Now, like I mentioned before, of course, their one downside is they do not target defensive buildings, and so that's why when you're using Valkyrie, you're going to want to pair them up with Golems for one, to tank, and with some kind of defensive targeting troop, so either Hogs or Loons. And in this video, we're just going to focus specifically on the Loons, just the GoVaLo, and we'll do the GoVaHo in a different video. So now when looking for a base to use this GoVaLo army against, what you're going to be looking for is air defenses that are in the same area, relative compartment that your Valkyrie are going to be able to take them out, because that's going to be the main issue for your Loons. So you're wanting the Valkyrie to go in and take out the air defense. Remember, in a hybrid attack, use one part of the hybrid to take out whatever is the most vulnerabilities to the second part of your hybrid attack. So when you're doing a Go-Ho, that means that your Go part has to take out the double giant bombs and clear all those areas that are vulnerable to your Hogs. When you're doing a GoVaLo, you have to take out the air defense and the other things that are going to be detrimental to your Loons. So keep that in mind. The other thing you need to look out for with the Valkyrie are, yes, they do really well on buildings that are tightly compact together. They don't do well on bases with a lot of compartments. You don't want your Valkyrie having to spin through a bunch of walls. So keep that in mind. The best bases for it are typically the ones where you have the center death trap. That means the center compartment usually has a lot of juicy stuff in the center, a lot of air defenses, a lot of Teslas, your giant bombs in a big open compartment in the center, and then surrounding that is going to be all your point defenses. And the goal of that type of base is for your troops to get stuck in that center and then have no way to get out, because there's all these compartments of point defenses that are firing on them, and as they take down one small compartment, then they have to fight their way into another small compartment just to get one defensive building at a time. You've seen this type of base design before. You've seen it 100 different ways, but if you look at it in the structure of the buildings and where they're at, you can kind of see the similarities and say, okay, this is going to be a great base for Valkyrie. So that's key. That's number one. Make sure you're using this against a base that is suited for Valkyrie. Don't try and just throw this attack against any odd base. Use the army that is best for the base. So now when deciding to go in, you're likely, most people take 2 golems. The one thing I see with this attack most often at the end is those golems survive. And that 60 troop space that does its job at the very beginning of the attack and then doesn't do much else. So a lot of times when I do this attack, I just take 1 golem. The benefit to having 2 golems is, of course, you can spread them out wider, you can spread your wizards behind them and create a better funnel. Because if you're just sending in 1 golem, then the likelihood is you're not going to create a good enough funnel to get all your Valkyrie into the center. Weigh the pros and cons of that, determine whether you're going to take 1 or 2. Now the other option you have right now is you have to open up the base all the way to the center. You either have to use wall breakers, or the most popular thing to do now is to use 4 Earthquake, because if you take 4 Earthquake with your donated spell, so 3 that you build on your own, 1 donated, that means that you have 2 heal spells available for your Valkyrie. Remember, the heal spells are for your Valkyrie, they're not for your loons. Even when you switch this up and you bring hogs instead of loons, the heals are still for your Valkyrie. Keep those Valkyrie at high hit points and you're going to wreck the base. So what you're going to determine as you look at the base is, can I use a rage with wall breakers and open the base completely up, or should I use 4 Earthquake and again open the base completely up? The more open this base is, the less compartments there are, the more successful you're going to have at this attack. You must open the base all the way up to the center, all the way to the air defenses. Those have to be open in order to funnel your Valkyrie where you want them to go. Now, focusing on using balloons as the back end part of this hybrid, another thing you want to look at besides the air defenses, also look out for Teslas and archer towers. See where those are situated. You want to be able to take those out with your Valkyrie part of the army as well. Those are going to be also those point defensive, high striking damage defensive buildings. They're going to do a lot of damage to your balloons and are going to stop them from getting too far into those other defenses. So keep that in mind when you're trying to determine which base to use for this Valkyrie and balloon combination. Okay, so back to whether to use rage with wall breakers or to use the earthquake. Of course, the benefit of using the rage with the wall breakers is you essentially get another full spell. Poisons to deal with the clan castle, but you're going to have to use quite a few wall breakers in order to open the base up. And this is also a more dangerous way to go, because earthquake, you're guaranteed if you place those right, you're opening up all the sections that you want to open up. If you use wall breakers though, you don't know if they're going to be hit by a mortar you're just not counting on, if they're going to trip a giant bomb. Something could happen, something could go wrong with those wall breakers and ruin your attack completely from the start. So determine what you feel most comfortable with for the base you're facing and go for it. Now also, the downside to taking the 4 earthquake is you don't have a poison to deal with the clan castle, which means that you're going to have to take some barbarians with you, some wizards, and be able to take care of that clan castle old school way without using the poison. Now on this attack, you need to pull the clan castles. So if the clan castle is difficult to reach, you're likely going to have to use a couple of hogs to take out a defense and then have the hogs go into the next top and pull that clan castle. And you're going to want to drag it to the corner where you're going to want to start your attack. So once the clan castle is dealt with, then this is where you're going to drop your golems, just like you normally would in a go-ho or any of these other go attacks. You're going to drop your golems spaced out, spread wizards behind them, and start to create your funnel. If you're using wall breakers, now this is the point that you're going to use your wall breakers and the rage for those wall breakers to bust open as many compartments as possible while those golems are protecting them. If you're using earthquake, you should have already probably dropped your earthquake while the clan castle is being dragged, or make sure they're dropped now. So at this point, you have your go part out and it's creating the funnel and you have the base opened up. Now this is where you're going to want to send your Valkyrie with your Barbarian King. And the first thing you want to do is just send 1 Valkyrie, and that's to test your funnel to make sure that you've set it up correctly, because you want to get all these Valkyrie into the center. If that Valkyrie drops and goes clear off to the side, you know, okay, I need to wait a little bit, I need to clear a little bit more of the sides and make sure that that Valkyrie is going into the center and following the golems. So once you're all good with that part of the attack, the Valkyrie are heading into the center where you want them to be. You now have 2 heal spells, so watch those Valkyrie, watch their health as they start to get down lower, then drop a heal and they're good to go. Once the balloons are going to be safely protected, that means that the defenses are firing on the Valkyrie and the balloons would be out of range of air defenses, or the air defenses are taken down. This is where you can start sending in 2 balloons at a time towards defenses that target air. Don't worry about sending in balloons to target cannons. However, it is nice to be able to take those cannons out so they can no longer fire on your Valkyrie and your Barbarian King. So you're going to want to start sending in 2 balloons at a time towards the archer towers, towards the wizard towers, and as they take those out, then they're going to start dispersing out around the outside and taking out all those other point defenses and cleaning it up. So while the balloons are targeting the defenses, your Valkyrie and wizards will continue to clean up the rest of the base, and there you go. That's essentially it. That's a GoVaLo. So some things to keep in mind with this: you're going to want to send your Valkyrie in against the air defense. Have them take down the air defense as soon as possible, because as soon as those air defenses are down, then you can send in your balloon as backup to start taking out those defenses that are targeting your Valkyrie. If you can't get level 4 Valkyrie from your clan, go ahead and just use level 3, level 2. You can still take out max Town Hall 8 bases with just level 2 Valkyrie. And then this is just up to you how many Valkyrie you want to use. I like to use at least 8. That means I'm taking 5 of my own plus 3 in the clan castle. I also take a Barbarian in the clan castle for that extra space. I always like to take a Barbarian in the clan castle as my extra troop. The reason for this is the Barbarian's going to run out in front, so the Barbarian will get out in front and get away from the wizard, so the wizard will have a little bit of time to be able to take some structures down. Alright guys, that's gonna wrap it up for me. Leave me a comment below if you have any questions about this attack, but even better, download the Bindle chat. You can find the link to it here in the video or in the description below. Download Bindle, go to the room, #Clash Tutor. I am in there from time to time, but even better than that are a lot of really cool people who watch my videos, who watch other videos, who know these attacks inside and out, and they're more than happy to help you with your attack. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, share this video with your clan, tell them to subscribe, make sure you subscribe too, and I'll catch you next time.